Have you always wanted to start your own business? Do you have an innovative idea or an invention, but just don't know how to turn it into a company? Are you already in business and need some help growing? The BRF's Entrepreneurial Accelerator Program can help. At EAP, we work alongside you, helping you with things like financial modeling, funding strategy, pitch preparation, and marketing strategy. So what are you waiting for? Go to eapla.com today and set up a time to talk with our team. Let EAP help you launch or grow your business in North Louisiana today.
Welcome back to On the Cusp. Got my co-host Matt Snyder here with me again. And we have Lauren and Derek from C&C Mercantile with us today. And I got to start this one with a story. All
We
right?
love stories.
Because you know this. You know this. Right about, it was a couple of years ago, I was driving by the store and there was a leg lamp in the front window of your business. And I saw it out of the corner of my eye. I made a U-turn in the street, Texas Street, went right back. I bought that leg lamp for my wife's Christmas present. You made me a hero for that Christmas.
Nothing makes women more happy than a full-size leg lamp.
It was glorious. I had been all over the internet looking for a full-size leg lamp. Could not find it.
Found it in St. Paul's Bottoms in Shreveport, Louisiana. How about that?
Hey, I love it. Made me a hero. Tell me about yourselves. Lauren?
You want to take it or me?
You take it first.
Okay. Born and raised, both of us born and raised in Shreveport. I was an art major in college and then started teaching art kind of after school at a local private school. And then kind of got dragged into musical theater, which is a bug if you know anything about theater. And did that started my own company, did that for 10 or so years, and then I actually traveled and toured with Cirque du Soleil for about a year and a half as a wardrobe attendant. And then I worked for Hello Kitty Festival, toured North America as a wardrobe attendant, and then I moved to Nashville, Tennessee, and then I came back to Shreveport, and that's where Derek and I met. We actually met at the store, which we eventually took over, and leads us to now.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So what's weird is we both grew up in the same town, but never knew each other, but had all these weird connections. We all knew all the same people. We both left town around the same time. I grew up obviously still in Shreveport, but grew up on the west side of town on a small farm out by Cross Lake. And that growing up on a small farm just like leads to so many different things, like mechanically, just you're always having to fix stuff, work on stuff. My dad still is an electrical contractor. So like working was just like in our blood from the beginning. You were always, as a child, my dad starting his own business would like, it'd be 10 o'clock at night and, I remember them waking me up going, you gotta go ride with your dad out and go fix something. You're like, all right, that's cool. Where it'd be like this cotton gin.
Check him out
of
school to go to work.
Yeah, check me out of school to go to work. Like when you need help, you need help, Anyway, so it's such a weird, so I grew up in all that. And then right around the year 2000, somewhere in there is when, this is a slightly funny story, and I'll get slightly derailed on this because I love a good story. My mom was, worked for a machine shop, and she got they closed the machine shop, so she was just going to retire. And so my dad's like, that's fine. They have a small farm out on Jefferson Page. You can just, retire and work at the farm, pill around. That'd be great. So one day into her retirement at the farm, she decided she was going to fix my dad. She was going to do the books. He was losing money. Like she was going to do all that. 3 days into retirement, my dad comes home and says, "You're getting a job." Lo and behold, C&C Electric at the time comes up for sale. It actually already left the Camus family, and it had already been moved from its original location on Louisiana Avenue to Line Avenue in Prospect. A different individual owned it. Back, even crazier story, that was my dad's very first apprenticeship job in the electrical trade was at C&C Electric when it was on Louisiana in an old house. So it was kind of like, I guess just it was just
Fate.
supposed to work. Yeah, fate, like those stars aligned and that was happened. And what was funny was my dad, remember telling me that it was nothing to do with the family, but one of his supervisors, you know, when he first started there, told him like, listen, like this kind of work's not for everybody. You should probably just go find something else to do, you know? And then lo and behold, he became a very successful, contractor, and then went up and bought the business that basically told him, you know, go find something else to do. So he was like, you know, my mom, that's you, there's a good place for you to go. So we got introduced to that whole different world. Like we went from contracting world to, you know, equipment and trucks to now we're doing almost like interior stuff. And it was a whole nother like realm that we got into that was just, we were ignorant of. And not long after that, you know, Katrina happened and moved the movie industry up here. So it was like baptism by fire. The movie industry came up and there was really not that many people up here like making stuff for them, or not enough. And so we were doing crazy sets for movies right off the bat. And the movie industry was great because what's cool about them is money's no object, it's about time. Can you have this tomorrow? Great, send a bill. You know, like we don't care. Right. And so we actually got geared up, and that was my introduction to like this whole like behind the curtain of these like cool, creative, weird things that you can make money at, right? And that was, so growing up, I only thought, I grew up in it, but I didn't love it. It was like, you know, you're running workers and pulling wires in buildings and,
Fixing
you know,
lamps.
that's only so exciting, right? And then when you get to, you know, people come to you going, can you build this? You know, and it's like paper on, you know, pen on paper. You're like, yes, you know, and you just figure it out. So that was an awesome eye-opening thing. And it definitely like unlocked something in the back of my head, like of the creative side. And because we didn't grow up with taste, you know, like we didn't know this stuff. Like we didn't know like what was cool.
What
or
are
like,
you talking about, West Shreveport?
Sure.
Didn't have a chance. No,
But I
no,
think
no.
you're touching on something really important that a lot of people are not willing to take the risk to go out there and launch their own
Or
business.
I think people don't realize that you can still be a creative
Yeah.
and make it a business and make money doing it.
It's okay to make money.
It's okay to make money and feed your family.
The more money you can make and the more success, the more you can do.
Right.
If y'all or me or any of us are not successful and we're not being able to feed our family and make money, we can't go take more risk and
I
try
can't-
more stuff.
I can't support local business.
That's right.
I mean, it's a domino effect.
That's right. You've got to be
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that is something that our generation, that's a shift to me. I think it's okay. You don't have to go work a safe 9-to-5 job with this is your salary.
Right.
I think we are more accepting maybe of that.
People come in this store all the time and they're like, this is what you do all day? Like you just paint and make weird, fun, creative things? And I said, yeah, I mean, we do. Now, we hustle. I mean,
Yeah.
we work. We hustle. We're always on social media. We're always pivoting to create some new evolution. You have to roll with the times. We have festivals, we have events, we have pop-ups, we include other businesses.
Right.
You know,
and that's
it's
the
all
key.
about cross-promotion.
I mean, you can have passion about your art, what you want to do, but you have to go through that process, that journey to understand that, look, you got to make money too, and you got to run the business on that, and you got to build a market.
Sure.
You know, if you just go open a store.
Yeah, that's tough. I mean, and it happens, but there's few things that really matter here. And in the artist side of things, it's like, you know, that's kind of, I hate to touch back on this because we talked about it slightly earlier, but like it's the culture versus jobs thing. Like the same way in that world, do you sell out or do you just make what you want because you believe that's what your art is, right? And there's a mix there. Like there's a fine, like we want to send our kids to private school. Like we have to make money. But at the same time, like there's a ebb and woe there. And like we operate by the golden rule. You understand that? The one with the gold makes the rules. You know, like we have to make money.
That's
like,
a Dave type rule.
we have to make money, right? Like this is a real business. I mean, we have 8 employees. Like these people like depend on. This isn't us just hanging out in our Highland house. Like just trying to get by to make rent. Like, this is a real business that we are growing. And so, sorry, we'll segue so it makes sense. So we grew up in all that, and that was click the box, but we both left town. I left town also. My dad and my grandfather were both about you go do you. Figure it out. One time there was, I'll never forget this, go grow up on someone else's dime. I remember that. All right, I thought it was harsh at the time, but now it totally makes sense,
Yeah, that's good.
So
because you're not dependent anymore on.
Yeah, I mean, growing up in a family business is tough because it's easy for them to just kind of take care of you in a way, and then you don't really understand. You don't have those. You're not having to really deal with the real boss. That's if you're not here, you're out.
Right.
And so I traveled, did many other very fun, creative things. Things just kept falling in my lap as far as they all were creative type stuff, and that's a whole nother subject for another day. Anyways, because of illness of my grandparents, I actually came back home, and I had time just to, spend time with them and all that. And then that's when this all kind of fell back in our lap again, and we were approached about, buying the store. Do y'all want to take this over? And it was both. Do you want the contracting side, which was really the moneymaker, or the store side? And the store side is now we're deja vu. We used to make some pretty cool stuff. If me and Lauren team up, we could probably flip this on its head and turn it in from a little old lady, everything's an Asian Oriental lamp, to a totally different world, and take it out of this town, right? Because we knew economics, to really make money, we're gonna have to get outside of, we're going to sell outside.
But you guys do that
We
right
do.
now.
We do.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
you have to.
You're out there all the time. You're going to shows and.
Round Top, Texas is the largest antique event in in the South, and it's in the Hill Country outside of Austin, Houston, Dallas. We call it this little the little golden nugget inside the triangle, because you have all these huge markets that come. It's 2 weeks, and they say the population of Round Top is 87 people, and then twice a year they estimate that 500,000 people come through.
I've heard about it.
This area. So we shut down our store, and we take our store to Round Top and show there for a week. We're trying to kind of double up now and then potentially have a permanent space there. But yeah, I mean, there's a big world out there, and there's people with a lot of cool ideas and style and like-minded like we are. That doesn't mean anything about our love for Shreveport. It just means, you do kind of have to get out of this little bubble of.
Yeah. So okay.
You're limited.
Let's hit on that. You've found success outside of Shreveport.
Yes.
Y'all are well connected outside of Shreveport. What you do probably fits a lot better in other places in Shreveport. But you consistently make the decision to stay and do it here.
Yeah.
Why?
And initially, I came back kicking and screaming. I lived in Nashville, Tennessee.
Yeah.
I mean, there's might as well be 1 million people a day moving to Nashville. There's everything that you could ever want in Nashville. But I wanted to be near my family. I wanted to be near my people. And that is the biggest draw for Shreveport. And I met these great guys last night at Fat Calf. I was eating dinner, and they sight unseen and didn't know a soul, moved from Dallas to Shreveport. They saw a house on Fairfield, bought this house, and the thing that set with me was that he said, everybody we meet is the nicest person. They're so welcoming, so inclusive. I've just, we love being here because of that. So that's a big thing for us. I mean, it's the familiarity. It's big fish in a little town, but our people are here.
We
have love for the place. I mean, we want it to do good.
That's the thing that a lot of the people we bring on this show, and a lot of people we all do business with and know and hang out with, we all have that. We care. I can't always explain why I do the way I do.
Right.
But we all care that Shreveport succeeds and gets better and,
Yeah.
and shifts into what we see.
Just can't quit it.
We can't quit it. Sometimes I'm like screaming in my car, why I can't, I can't.
I mean,
Can't quit.
But what's interesting is like as much as we throw around the ideas, probably not that much different than other people about, you know, could we do something else or leave this market and go do this or go do that. But what's interesting is when we go these other places, we're considered, we didn't call ourselves this, someone else did, like we're the dolls of Round Top. They think we're cool because of our Louisiana culture. Like there's a couple other people from Shreveport that also like go there and frequent there. And one of the reasons we like got in and had to like bypass some of the initial, you know, curtain wall was they're like, oh, y'all are from Shreveport? Y'all are cool. Like we love people
They
from Shreveport.
love Shreveport.
Like we love, and it's about
And that's
this.
the
Well, I
thing.
always say Texas would adopt Shreveport if they could.
They would kind of. I
Tourists,
mean, we're that crazy
tourists
cousin,
and
but yeah.
transplants,
we are the
I think,
crazy
love
cousin.
Shreveport more than
But they
than
love
natives
that.
do.
Yes.
And there's
I talk about that a lot. Some of the people that will talk about how all the good things about Shreveport, most that I can think of, are people that are not from here.
Right.
We're hard. I think the people that grew up here, we're hard on Shreveport
Yeah.
in a lot of ways that, and I don't know, and maybe some of that is because Shreveporters travel a lot, we go to cool places, and it's easy to go somewhere for 3 or 4 days and come back talking about how awesome it is.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, you didn't live there, you didn't
Sure.
get the full picture.
Right.
But yeah, people that move here, most of them moved here because they met some girl or guy in college and then they got
Yeah.
drove. They mostly have
That's
positive
me.
things to say.
Yeah,
then
it's
you brought our
very
leg
it's
one.
very rare that transplants find negativity. Find negativity in Shreveport, and we deal with artists all the time, and you know we have artists come show with us, and we get that all the time because, and maybe we're always as hard on it because we also just take these things for granted because we've always had it, and it's weird things that are said that make you like stop and go, I guess they are right about that. But we had an artist in 2019 come and show with us, and they're from McKinney, Texas, you know, north of Dallas.
Yeah.
Live in a, you know, I don't know, 1,200 homes or something in one neighborhood, not a tree in sight. That was
Yeah.
there, right?
Probably
you know?
paid $800,000 for
Right.
their
Yeah.
But anyways, they
100
come
square
like,
foot house.
where do you stay? We're like, oh, just, you know, you probably find an Airbnb or something in, you know, the Highlands, South Highlands area. Great. And so they came in town, dropped their stuff, came back to the store. One of the first things they said, and it like caught me off guard, was there's a lot of trees here. You have lots of trees. And I was like,
We do.
yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, we do. Like, you know, and like, they're like, no, these very like mature, like been here a long time trees. I'm like, yeah, yes, we do. You know, and like, I just thought that was a very like random thing, you know, but what that makes you realize like what is about, and that makes me think like, what is it about Shreveport that makes Shreveport, right? And that's a Louisiana thing also. Like, why do Louisiana people love Louisiana? And it's never government. Like, never go like, well, I love Louisiana because the government is awesome. You know, they always
I've
take
never
care of
heard
us.
that.
They
Okay.
always take care of us. You know, they're always
Right.
great.
That's
Roads are
good.
awesome, right? They never do that. What they say is like, it's all about relationships, right?
Yeah.
And so
It is.
when everything's
It's the people in its home.
it's the people in its home,
And
right?
the food.
And that's what's different.
Yeah.
And that's what's different than our neighbor Texas, right? When you ask people like, what do you love about Texas? Like, I mean, our roads are awesome.
Yeah, they do.
You know, like, you know, we're pretty free. We get to do what we want. Like, they never really talk about community. They never talk about relationships, really. And that's I think that's the difference.
That's
is
a
like
great point.
Louisiana has
Yeah.
this like interesting like soul of relationship. When people come in, when the couple from Dallas that moved here, they're like, what do you like? They never said like, oh, they're never saying infrastructure's awesome. Like, we're happy how
No, they
everything
said
is.
the house that they bought, it was like money pit, pretty much. But they were like, but we love it here.
You know, and so
Think about New Orleans. The
Right.
roads don't work at all.
I mean, you're- yeah,
I mean,
you're
the
like
crowds,
Yeah,
you might
through the
get
roof.
killed at any moment. And people are happy as a lark. This
Yeah.
place is awesome.
Right.
There's trash everywhere.
Yeah.
It smells terrible and you're
horrible.
so happy to be there.
Right.
Like,
But it's
I love it.
these
Great
weird,
point.
it's these weird, quirky things that make you fall in love with the town, and you begin to realize the reasons you love towns is not the town. It's the people of the town, and it's the small restaurants. It's the mom and pop shops.
the culture.
Like that's what
Yeah.
is the
The whole
culture.
thing.
That's what makes the town, right? And the same artists, like they asked, like, what do we do tomorrow morning? Because we're artists. We don't get going till like 10 something. And so they're like, well, you have to go to Strawn's on Kings Highway, And I was like, but I know you're from Dallas, and don't let me educate you on like traffic, but like park in the back and go up the stairs. And she's like, what does that do?
There's
And I was like,
cigarette butts
you just
everywhere.
go up the park in the back. You go it's a back door. She's like, I mean, you have to like ring a bell. Like, no, you just walk in the back door. And she's like, you just walk in the back
Through
door.
the
I was like,
bathroom.
yeah, I felt like so weird having to explain this like normal day life of like,
Yeah.
you just walk in the back door of this restaurant and you basically go through a kitchen and then you sit where you want. Anyway, so they come back and they're just like, that was the coolest place. Like these were just all the weird things
We're
that don't
doing
exist.
another episode on
they
that.
don't
The
exist.
quirky, weird things of
I
Shreveport.
like that.
Let's make
Yeah.
a list
They
of
don't,
those.
like
We'll do
these
that.
don't exist in larger markets, right?
Yeah.
Like everything's
Well,
a
it's
stucco.
cookie
Well,
cutter
they're
stuff.
making making fake ones.
Right.
Like the big thing I'm seeing a lot in Dallas and Austin right now is all the hidden door bars.
Yeah.
The bookshelf
Sure.
bar, the
You're right.
whatever. And it's
still in
they're-
the stucco front strip center.
Yes,
Yeah.
they're faking it to have
Sure.
some culture.
Right.
Sure.
So
They
this-
don't have a Strong's back door with
They
those
don't have
janky
any-
stairs
they don't have
with
any of that.
cigarette
Cigarette
butts
butts
everywhere.
all
Yeah, and then they're like, so where we go to lunch, And I was like, you got to go to Herbie K's and like have a goblet of beer, And they're like, a goblet of beer? I was like, just do it, And so they went, and sure enough, they're like a frozen goblet of beer, and I didn't set it up, but it was perfect. The whoever was waiting on them was hazing them, telling them that behind this booth slid, and that's where the Rat Pack would come and go, and all that. And then eventually told him he was kidding, but like they loved it. They're like, we're all in, and they loved it, And we went to dinner at Little Italiano, and like we sat on the patio, and they were just like, is this place real? Like,
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, yeah, we live
Okay,
here.
I
Like,
cannot
and that was
let-
such a seeing that.
Yeah.
Like seeing that back. Those are normal day life for us, right?
I
We take that
can't
for
let
granted.
this episode end without us touching on this because it's important, and y'all are the authority in my mind. Old Texas Avenue was special. Even as a kid, some of my family owned a drugstore still where you paid a nickel to get the candy.
Yeah.
I mean, that was cool down there. And the buildings are so cool, and there's a lot, but it's a huge risk. Real downtown is struggling to have anything work in it. Going down there was a huge risk. Can you talk about like that decision and you're being successful down there? I mean, like,
Yeah, but again, it goes back to creating a draw, hustling, making things that are attractive to people. It's the markets that we do. It's cross-promoting with other businesses. It's inviting, Key Mexico to come out and do tacos. It's all that. You're educating people about the area, and people fall in love with it when they come. They're like, this could be amazing. And we've had multiple conversations with government entities and authorities and things like that, and hopefully we'll be on the upswing soon. But there's a lot of personally owned, emotional baggage building kind of things that people are, like they're tied to because it's a family building or it's a storage thing. It's cheaper to do that than get an actual storage
There's
unit.
some
Amtrak
hits happening
station's
down
going to be
there that-
right up the road from you, too.
Y'all,
I mean, that
Louisiana
is so
daiquiri.
big.
I mean, that's big.
So it's- there's
well,
a
the
lot
Herbie
of
K's area is always to me been like so much potential for
Me too.
a walking neighborhood.
I love it every
think-
time I drive down through there.
Yeah.
I see somebody else has bought a building and is
Yeah.
redoing
Yeah,
the
it's
building.
cool.
I think
right
our
in there.
area though could really, because I said this yesterday, our area is manageable. You're not buying a high rise. You're buying a small manageable building. You don't have that much square footage. You could have a boutique. You could have a bar. You could have a burger joint. You could have, whatever.
Yeah.
Like, and then it's between the park and you've got the municipal. I mean, it only makes sense for that to be a hop-in area. You've got concerts and there's just so much potential.
But
We're
it's-
hoping that
it's always-
we'll be an anchor.
It's always
Yeah.
the same. Like the outsiders that come in think like, why is this not like awesome? Why is this not Deep Ellum? Why is this not
Right.
whatever?
And it's the main gate
Sure,
into
yeah, it's basically Highway 80,
Yeah.
Into
coming
the
through. But
downtown.
when we went and jumped in, and people always ask us. I mean, I had little old ladies that their Cadillacs automatically went to Line Avenue and Prospect, call me and
Up one side, down the other.
and just say,
I can't
you
believe-
ruined your business.
Yeah.
You are going to close. You're not going to last 3 months. No one is going to come see you. And like, that's also the mentality that's kept Shreveport where it is, right? Like, they've never expounded upon that. And I'm like, this is one of the safest districts in town.
And it has to be okay to want Old Texas Avenue to succeed and be a fan of Providence.
Sure.
Shreveporters always want you to pick who you are,
It's
and they
the-
want to
Yes.
put you in your bubble.
Yeah.
Oh, Lauren and Derek, those downtown hipsters. Y'all don't have anything against Providence.
No,
Y'all
I'm
come
too
hang
old to
out
be a
with it.
hipster.
Yeah,
Like,
you
I'm
know,
not a
like,
hipster at
no,
all.
it's like, but we like.
we can all.
We're-
everybody can
Definitely.
win.
But
can
we're
have
like we want to walk.
districts.
We want to walk the walk. Like so, when we were leaving Line Avenue to go there, I mean, we met with Liz Swain, and Liz Swain's like, "Y'all want to take on Texas Avenue? Y'all want to take on St. Paul's Bottoms? Like, awesome. Like whatever. Like that's cool. But like there was even the questions like, are y'all sure y'all want to do this? You know, and like, and they're good friends of ours. So it was kind of like are you sure? You know, but she's like, if anyone's gonna take it on, y'all can. But and everyone asks us why. Like, why would you do that? Of all the places y'all could go, like, of like in town, like, why in the middle of nowhere? And that's because like that's our business. Like, at the store, when we do restoration, right now we're averaging 120, 130 work orders a month, and that is restoration projects. Those are things that are deemed not to exist anymore, right? So those are things that we're bringing back to life, that we're giving second chances,
Oh, that's
right?
so cool.
When we started Artifact's our nonprofit next door to us, where we employ autistic individuals and Asperger's individuals, help us make products. Like, so our whole thing is like, that building that we moved into, we were the first retail store to open on the avenue in almost 40 years now. Like, we want to give this a second chance. These things deem a second chance. And when you walk in our showroom, we have 16-foot ceilings with beautiful brown brick walls. Like, everyone goes, this is awesome. It's like, it sat vacant for 30 years.
It's so
you know?
much more y'all to me than the
100%.
store on Line Avenue.
100%.
Yes.
That's what I tell people.
100.
It's us.
So much more.
And there was no natural light in that place. And we're artists and we paint and we make. And the natural
Yeah.
light, we had no windows. Everything was artificial. And
Yeah, it was like
It's
really
chopped up.
cool.
It's such a
like
cool
what y'all were
building.
doing there was so cool. But I'd be standing there talking to y'all, and it always felt like
you're in a cave.
it wasn't.
Yeah.
It wasn't right.
Well, there
the
was-
minute I walked in downtown, I was like, oh my gosh,
we wanted
this
to
is
be
it.
our
This is
own.
it.
We wanted to be our own thing, and we knew we were flipping the script. You know, like we were reviving an old business, and so it needed a new, fresh, stuff. I mean, the bones were there, but she needed new facelift, the whole deal. Well, what's interesting is we also moved because we started the nonprofit. We're employing people with different abilities. That was a 50s building that was like not up to code to a little bit. There were steps and levels and not ADA bathrooms. So now when we moved into basically a gigantic tall square box, like we were able to just build bathrooms what we wanted. Everything's the same level, right? Like there weren't steps in, steps out. Like the sidewalk and the showroom are, other than the threshold, are together. So it just made more sense as far as like the employees we were trying to hire and everything we were gonna do. It was a perfect fit. And then we wanted to give not Shreveport, but we want to give that area a second chance. Like it needed it, it deserved it, and like that's also our mission. We give things and people second chances all the time, and that's our whole thing.
That is a great story. Thanks for today. We
Loved
appreciate
it.
it.
It was awesome.
And we'll let you know when it comes out.
Thank y'all.
Cool.
Yeah, thank you so much,
Thanks,
guys.
guys.
It was awesome.